Welcome back, sports fans, to my channel. Okay, let's talk about this one. I'm done with LeBron James in the NBA Finals. Let me give it to you one more time. I'm done with LeBron James in the NBA Finals. You guys, you LeBron haters, you're done with the 90s. I'm done with LeBron James in the NBA Finals. Okay, what we're going to look at today is LeBron's first six NBA Finals versus Jordan's six NBA Finals, right? Jordan was 6-0. LeBron was 2-4. What? LeBron was 2-4 in his first NBA Finals? In five of those NBA Finals, he had a super team? How is that possible, right? So let's look at points and percentages, right? Because I love percentages because that tells the whole story of everything. You could score 40 points and shoot 39% and have five turnovers and shoot 69% from the line and shoot 30% from the three, right? Was that good? You can't tell that to LeBron fans, can you? You can't say this to LeBron fans because all they look at is 37, 7, and maybe 5. They don't care about percentages. They'll say, oh, LeBron did his thing. Well, let's look at this, right? In LeBron's first six NBA Finals, these are his averages, his totals, right? He averaged 25 points per game, 44% from the field, 32% from the three-point line, 72%, right, from the free throw line, and 3.9 turnovers per game. It wasn't LeBron's fault, was it? Whose fault was it? Let's look at this. Jordan's six finals, right? All of his finals. Let's look at his averages. He averaged 33 points per game, 48% from the field, 36% from three, which was better than LeBron. Okay. 80% from the line and 2.8 turnovers. Huh? And that's how you win six championships and lose 0. So let's look at some notable opponents in those six finals, right? Let's leave out Kevin Garnett, Kevin Durant, and who else? Jimmy Butler, and these type of guys who wasn't in those finals. Who was in LeBron's first six finals? That was notable names, right? We're going to talk about Dirk Nowitzki. We're going to talk about Tim Duncan. And we're going to talk about Curry. And we're going to talk about Kawhi Leonard, right? In LeBron's first six finals. And those guys won 4 championships, and LeBron won 2. What's the excuse? Durant wasn't there. And just to note, some role players in those first six finals that won finals MVP. Could you imagine a role player winning a finals MVP against Michael Jordan? Tony Parker, Iggy, Iguodala. These guys won finals MVP for either outplaying LeBron, because Tony Parker scored more points, right, than LeBron in the 07 finals. And then you had Iguodala. Let's look at it. 2015, yes, LeBron scored 35 points. But he shot 39% from the field, 31% from the three, 68% from the line. And he had 3.5 turnovers per game. Okay, let's go to 2007. We didn't expect LeBron to win, right? But let's see what he did when Bruce Bowen shut him down. You think a Bruce Bowen is going to shut Michael Jordan down. I don't care if it was in the 80s or the 90s or the early 2000s. Ain't no Bruce Bowen shutting Michael Jordan down. And that's what he did to LeBron when LeBron averaged 22 points per game, 35% from the field, 30% from three, 69% from the line, and 5.8 turnovers. Almost 6 turnovers a game, right? Some notable names, right, that Jordan played. These aren't all-time greats. Stockton, Malone, Barkley. You got Gary Payton, Drexler. This was his second finals. That was Jordan's first finals. Okay, so if that team was weak, I don't know how they got to the finals 2 times, and this was Jordan's first finals when he played Clyde Drexler. And you got Worthy and you got Magic. Okay, they was about to start another dynasty. Look, in LeBron's first 6 finals, he averaged under 26 points per game. He averaged under 45% from the field. He averaged 35%. No, he averaged under 35% from the three. Averaged under 75% from the free throw line. So when did the GOAT debate start? If 2015 was LeBron's 6th finals appearance and he fell miserably like this, he pooped his pants as far as points and averages, you're telling me that in 2016, when he was now 3-6 and beat Baby Curry, that he called himself the greatest of all time? Really? Really? So if LeBron never called himself the greatest of all time after 2016, right? Nobody would have been saying he was the greatest of all time. No one would have been saying that he was even on Michael Jordan's level, right? It took him to convince his dumb fans that he was on Michael Jordan's level. Because obviously they can't add. Obviously they don't look at percentages. When you look at LeBron's first 6 finals from 07 to 2015, right? Right? You got to be kidding me. He hadn't even passed Kobe at that point. He hadn't even passed Magic Johnson, Kareem, Wilt, or Russell at that point. So what are we talking about? And I want you to bring up Wilt. Okay, Wilt was 2-4, but he didn't have as much help as LeBron James. And I got Wilt number 2. I know a lot of people seen some videos, and I was criticizing Wilt about, his points in the playoffs, in the finals. We can go do that for LeBron James. I think it was 15 times LeBron scored under 20 points in the finals or something like that. Or it might have been in the playoffs. I'm going to have that video next. And I'm going to compare that to Wilt. But one thing I can say about Wilt, he was dominant in the regular season. Right? He was the most dominant player of all time. So to me, when we put up finals MVPs, statistical accolades, championships, MVPs, Wilt is number 2, right behind Jordan. Wilt has the most when you put those numbers and those awards together. And then you got Kareem at 3. And then you got Russell at 4. Right? And then you got Magic. He even has more than LeBron. That's the top 5 players of all time. Have you ever seen? If you're saying that Wilt was 2-4, LeBron was 2-6, right? 2-6. Oh, my fault. 2-4 in his first six finals. That's what LeBron was. 2-4 because he won what, two more rings? He's better than Wilt? No, no, I don't think so. And Wilt should have about seven MVPs because he got robbed. When you look at his numbers, he was killing them in numbers and statistical accolades, and he wasn't getting MVP over Bill Russell. So we don't know how LeBron got two finals or two MVPs in Miami with a super team. If it's the most valuable player to your team, you can't be the most valuable player when you got two top 10 players at the time on your team, and then you added a top 75 player with Ray Allen. How does that work? First six NBA Finals appearances, LeBron was 2-4. How do you lose four of your first six finals? He lost to the Spurs. Then he lost to the Mavs. Then he won two in a row, right? Against OKC and barely beat the Spurs. And then he loses to the Spurs, and then he loses right here, the last one, choked it down. 39% from the field, 31% from three, 68% from the free throw line, and 3.5 turnovers. And you guys are going to say, oh, well, Kyrie got hurt, and then Love got hurt. LeBron took a 2-1 lead going back home and got obliterated in every game after that. And Kyrie got hurt in the first game. So he won the second game without Kyrie, right? He could have pulled out that next game to a Warriors team who never even been to the NBA Finals. He could at least got one game. If not, he didn't have to do this. 39% from the field, 31% from three. And I think he averaged like 6 or 7 threes. Dude was just chucking up threes like like he was going to beat out Steph Curry. 68% from the line. 3.5 turnovers. So what this told you was once he lost Kyrie, he was done. Because he had to shoot. And they was going to clog up the lane. Iguodala was going to shut him down from driving. And then you had Draymond Green right there, right? And we know LeBron can't shoot. That's why he always runs around and he gets shooters. Come on, Ray Allen. Come on, this guy. Come on, Kyrie. Whatever team he went to, he had all these shooters. Remember, he couldn't just get one free agent like Jordan, Dennis Rodman. I just need you to play one position. He needs guys to play all these different positions to make up for his shortcomings. Right? He tried to get, some free agents, Ben Wallace, to play defense and rebound. That didn't work out. Because LeBron can't shoot. And he melted down in 2009 as the MVP. I'm done with LeBron in the NBA Finals. He was done. In his first six finals, he was 2-4. How could anybody ever talk about this guy was in Michael Jordan's shoes? Even if you put Kawhi Leonard up here with Dirk, Duncan, and Curry in these first six finals, I'm taking the guys that Michael Jordan played. Stockton, Malone, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, even though he's not a Hall of Famer, he should be, right? Drexler, Worthy, Magic. I'm taking these guys. Because truthfully, only two of these guys really played defense. Kawhi, he was a rookie, and Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan was old. Uh, Dirk, he was old. All these guys, basically, that Jordan played, they were the same age. The Stockton, the Malone, uh, Barkley, Drexler, Worthy, Magic, they were pretty much the same age. Magic was a little bit older, give or take a couple years. But they were all pretty much the same age as Michael Jordan. And like I said, you can't compare eras. You comparing the defensive era with fundamentals versus an era that lacks defense. I'm not going to say, these guys that he was playing in the 210s didn't have fundamentals because that's why they beat LeBron. Because LeBron isn't, his teams aren't going to beat you off of fundamentals. His teams play based off of athleticism. That's what he got beat off of. Teams that execute fundamentals of the game, they're always going to beat LeBron. Because LeBron has no fundamentals. And I can guarantee you, it ain't one team that LeBron has played on his first stint in Cleveland, those Miami Heat teams, the Cleveland team when he went back home, or these Lakers teams that he played on all these years, 5, 6 years, ain't one of those teams is going to beat Michael Jordan's teams. None of them. And LeBron done played with all these number one franchise players from another team. Ben Wallace was a number one franchise player. He didn't get drafted there, but he was a number one franchise player. Shaq was a number one franchise player at one point, right? You got Kyrie, number one franchise player of Cleveland. You got Kevin Love, number one franchise player of Minnesota. You got Chris Bosh, number one franchise player of Toronto. You got Dwayne Wade, number one franchise player of the Heat. AD, number one franchise player, right, of the Pelicans. And then you got that super duper dream team. Oh, let's not forget Howard, number one franchise player at one time of Orlando. And then you even though you guys say these guys are old, they came into the league with LeBron. The Carmelo Anthony's, the Russell Westbrooks. Who else was on that team? We said AD. So all these guys were number one franchise players of another team. Name that player that Michael Jordan played with that was a number one franchise player of another team. Don't say Dennis Rodman because he was not no number one franchise player of another team. Top 75 player, great defender, great rebounder, but he was never a number one franchise player of another team. And you guys are comparing LeBron to Michael Jordan? This dude is playing with other teams' number one franchise players. Either these players were in their primes or they once were number one franchise players of another team. Right? You better go get your money back because this guy done made over $1 billion off of being a loser. Over $1 billion by playing with some of the greatest players of all time. Right? Who did Jordan play with that was greatest of all time players? Rodman? Scottie Pippen. I guess you can say Robert Parrish. I mean, the dude could barely walk, right? He could barely walk. He was never a number one franchise player of any team. I know he wasn't of the Celtics. So, what are we talking about? Two players? And Pippen wasn't a number one franchise player of any team. He just wasn't. This is an embarrassment. This guy has stole so much money, and he's not even a great leader. He's got to get all these number one franchise players of other teams to play with him. Wow. Go get your money back.